This is Small Things Like These, which is a very low-key Irish drama from Tim Meerlance. Now, you may remember Tim Meerlance because I reviewed his film Patrick. He's a Belgian filmmaker, and he made an existential deadpan nudist comedy drama.
Oh, okay. That's quite
It's niche. Not leaping to your mind, is it?
No, not really.
Okay, well, we did review it, and I did say, I bet you don't see any other existential deadpan nudist comedy dramas this year, and you did.
And that was a prediction which came true.
Completely true. He also worked on third series of Peaky Blinders, which is relevant because Small Things Like These stars Cillian Murphy, who's also a producer, alongside Matt Damon, who he co-starred with in Oppenheimer, and Ben Affleck gets an exec producer credit. So it's adapted by Anna Walsh, who wrote Disco Pigs, and so from connection from way back, from a text by Claire Keegan, who of course is the author who effectively gave us The Quiet Girl. So this is quite the pedigree. So Ireland, 1980s, Cillian Murphy is a coal merchant, Bill, and he very stoically goes about his job. He provides for his family. We see the ritual of his life. He comes home at the end of the day. He comes into the corridor. He hangs up his coat. He goes into the bathroom, and he very methodically washes his hands before he goes to join his wife and daughters at the table. He has demons in his past, which we see in flashback, about his mother, who was in a terrible position when pregnant with him and was taken in by a kindly soul. Anyway, one day near Christmas, he's delivering to a convent, and he stumbles across an abused woman who seems to have been locked in the coal shed. The Mother Superior, who is played by Emily Watson, assures him that the whole thing's a misunderstanding. He should leave it be. And she then very sinisterly asks after his daughters, whose school the church runs. And, Bill tries to turn his back on what he's seen and to kind of put it out of his mind. But being a warrior, he is completely unable to do so. So then what happens is, as I said, there is this very low-key drama, and the very title of the thing suggests just how low-key it is, in which he has to face up to this reality that he stumbled upon, and he has to decide whether or not he's going to act on his instincts, or whether he's going to be able to just put it to bed. It's no great surprise which way that goes. So unlike films like Peter Mullen's Magdalene's Sisters in 2002, and to some extent Philomena in 2014, it's about a subject that we've heard about in the news and through movies, but there aren't any great terrible revelations or grand quests. Instead, the whole thing is about this character who's on the brink of some kind of life crisis, facing up to a simple question, which is, whether to look or walk away, or whether to do something. And as with Patrick, which I really liked, the director's got a real eye for the incidental. Also, as with Patrick, the central figure is somebody of few words, for whom expressions speak volumes. And there is something, we've talked about this before, there is something about Cillian Murphy's face. There are few people that can do, like an intense range of emotions through so little. I mean, he's got the most piercing eyes, yes, but it's not, it's to this, I mean, I don't know how to describe what facial acting is, but there is something about the expression on his face throughout this drama that makes him look like he is a man who is carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. And the fact that he says so little is, this like sadness and regret, and it eventually turns to something else. I mean, as always, the devil is in the detail. The scene between him and Emily Watson, who's also in Midas Man, incidentally, is a real masterclass. So I suspect it may be too low key for some people. I mean, I don't think it's going to set the world alight, and I think it's not quite A Quiet Girl, but it is a film that goes, it whispers its story to you, and I found it very, very moving. And I found it very engaging. And I found a lot of it just watching Cillian Murphy's face and thinking, I'm almost forgetting this is Cillian Murphy. I just believe he is this character who is carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. And he's doing it through so little. I mean, it's minimalist performance made flesh. And I think you'd like it. I think it might prove too low-key for some audiences.
Funny, we were talking about face acting last week when Tom Hardy came up in the conversation was it the Dunkirk scene where he's actually wearing a flying mask? So
Yes.
we can actually only see half of his face. So it's just eyes and eyebrows and I suppose a little bit of his nose. And still he manages to act extraordinarily. But Cillian Murphy, even in Oppenheimer, maybe this was the film he did after Oppenheimer. It's like that was huge and vast and explosive, clearly. And this wasn't.
Although the interesting thing with Oppenheimer, the poster for Oppenheimer is just a picture of his face.
Yeah.
And his face in Oppenheimer is completely different to his face in small things like these. And I don't mean like, oh, he's wearing different makeup or he's got different hair. I mean, it's almost as if the whole set of his face changes from role to role. I think he's one of the most brilliant actors of his generation. I think and also the other great thing about him is, when was the last time you read a story about him in the newspaper? Just never. He just keeps himself to himself and gets on with the work. I think he's great.
He's got his life sorted out.
Yes.
He certainly has.